On Radio 97, this is Talking Law, and if you have a question that you would like to ask Despina, she's happy to answer it for you free of charge on the radio. You can get the question to us by going to radio97.com.au and you'll find the contact information right there on the front page, radio97.com.au.
Okay, so all the happy news this morning on Talking Law, but it is so important because more Aussies are getting scammed. There are so many fraudsters out there and people are really struggling. A poor couple lost $40,000.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, just last week. So Despina, we have spoken about scams and fraudsters a little bit on the show, but yeah, what are you wanting to put out there so people can avoid this type of disaster?
Yes, it was and is another disaster. Very unfortunate. I really want to focus on the scamming and hacking and fraudulent occurrences that are continuing to happen in Australia. This country is very vulnerable. I'm sure there are other countries out there, and the government has taken steps to try and help people with this by putting out information. We talked about that on the show a few weeks ago, and I've given, if you remember, people out there some tips and on trying to keeping up with the current scams that are out there. I think it was scam.gov.au was the website, and you definitely everyone should be subscribing to that. But this is a very unfortunate situation where, from what I've read of the story anyway, and this is my understanding, is that the couple who had to pay their deposit on a contract. So, you sign a contract of sale, there's always a deposit payable. Sometimes it's a small amount, sometimes it's a large amount. This amount was $40,000, if I'm not mistaken, in the story. So nothing to sneeze at. It wasn't 1,000 or 2,000, but even that is, you don't want to lose any money. At all. So this was a large amount of money. I think they were first home buyers. And so particularly for those people who are struggling out there and they want to buy their first home, it's bad for anyone, but particularly for those people. So they had to pay a deposit. Now, these are all the practical issues I want to talk about for people out there that really need to understand. When you sign a contract of sale, you will always have in the contract itself the stakeholders' trust account details. So that is the person who has to hold the deposit. It is in the contract. It's normally on page 3 of the REIQ contract, all right, in Queensland. So the account details are in there. Now, what happens is a lot of people, they might not see that, and 9 times out of 10, I suppose, they don't know and they don't look at that, and then they email the agent or they email us acting for a buyer and say, oh, where do I pay the deposit? Now, in our industry, we've known for the last 3 years, you never, ever, ever email anyone's bank account details to a client because of the fraud that's been happening and the hacking, where people can intercept your emails very easily, change a digit in the email or in the document that you're attaching, like a PDF, and change that account number. So it goes to a completely different account, not the correct account. We always send clients a cyber alert, which we're required to do at law, and our insurer insists on that. And we do that from the outset. And the cyber alert says we will never, ever ask you for your account details by email. So if you get an email from us, it's not from us. Okay, so whether or not in the agent industry, because what I understand from this case is that the agent sent a message to the home, to the buyer saying, this is where you pay the account. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was a text message. I don't think it was an email, but either way, if that was the case and that's how they lost their money, it should never have happened. So I'm not sure what the agents are doing in their industry. Certainly they should be doing exactly what we're doing, which is alerting the buyers and sellers, right? From the beginning, we will never ask you for an email, for an account, by email or any other means except by phone. So listeners out there might say, oh, that's all very well. How do I find out where to pay the monies? Well, the only way that you can do it is by phone. Or go into the office themselves and get the details and write them down yourself. It's the only way. We only ever talk to our clients with bank account details by phone. If our clients are owed money that we hold, or if our clients are owed money from the agent or from another third party, we always either verify the account details ourselves because we can, or we say to the client, you must verify by phone. You cannot take this email as accurate. Now, when we talk about this communication other than phone, we are covering things such as emails, such as text messages, such as WhatsApp messages, and Messenger. messages. Okay, I'm sure everyone out there who uses iPhones can understand what I'm talking about. The WhatsApp is not secure. Text messages are not secure. Emails are not secure, right? The message has to be brought home. And if the agents aren't doing their job, and I'm not saying this agent did, and I'm not sure what transpired, but if they're not telling you this, so if you're under contract and you get an email from an agent, or you get a text message from the agent that you've been dealing with for the past, say, 2 weeks negotiating, you cannot accept that as accurate. You must phone up the agency and you must get those details by phone, record them yourself, then pay the monies.
And it was only a week ago, Despina, or 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about scams and be careful of account details going through email or phone. Literally, it was like clockwork. 2 days later, my real estate agency said, look, we're changing our account details. Here it is. Send your rent immediately, or whenever, it's due that week. And straight away I went, no. I'm like, let's just call and triple check. And that's all it took. It took a few seconds, and people usually know that, yes, scammers are around, but it only just takes a few moments to confirm exactly where you're sending your money or where people are sending you money. It's just a safer way to do it.
Exactly. So we've been talking about this for a long time, and unfortunately this story has come up. It's another message out there. So the moral of the story is you just cannot accept anything other than a phone call or in person. And then even with the phone call, you've got to verify you're talking to the right person.
Yep. Are we too trusting? Just briefly, are we too trusting? Is that the problem?
I think we are. I think as a nation, we're too trusting. You've got to find that balance. You can't be, I suppose, too suspicious. But then we've got a lot of fraud happening. We've had a lot of scams happening. Got billions of dollars being lost in this industry because of that. You just can't be too careful. And it is your money. So why shouldn't you take the extra precautionary step, which you have to do? Don't listen to anyone else. Listen to what we're saying, and that is verify by phone. Make sure you're talking to the actual person that you've been dealing with, and you get the actual bank account details that are correct to avoid these losses.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Despina, for coming on the show, for talking law. And if anyone does want to get in touch with you directly about anything we've chatted about today, or just want legal advice, where can they contact you?
So they can phone the office 55291 294, and they can email info@prialalegal.com.au. This segment will be up on YouTube later in the week, but if anyone wants information directly about the Oracle Homes, happy to give them the links that they need. They can phone the office or email me, and I'll send that out to them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Despina and Wayne.
And we'll see you next week.
See you then, guys.